Let's take that conversation forward with Anil Pant. Anil, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Now, I'm trying to compare two different business models. The business model, what you have, and what is happening in the world. In the world right now, there is a shortage for IT professionals. There is a shortage because the new cloud architecture is getting created. There is a shortage because suddenly demand is much more than the actual availability of talent. That's happening at IT services for the engineers, for folks who understand how to make the new architecture. How has this translated into a demand surge and a business uptick for Aptech?
So, Nikunj, if you look at what is happening globally for us, our numbers in the global markets have been growing at almost about 35-40% every year. And it's no different right now. Where you are seeing a massive demand surge is in India. And this is predominantly because there are more number of jobs getting offshored into India. This has caught almost everybody on the wrong foot in the sense that the demand is so high that there just isn't enough supply of, let's put it this way, software professionals for the IT players to recruit from. Now, this is leading to some interesting models where large IT companies are partnering with organizations like Aptech to reach out into non-traditional sources of supply. So typically, you would look at IT companies hiring only from engineering colleges, but now they are open to hiring people from BSc IT, BCAs, MCAs, and running. So typically, the last 3 months, 4 months of their courses in their colleges get converted into churning them into software professionals, and these companies hire them directly.
Sonal, do you have courses which, in a sense, are training talent so that they could be absorbed or they could be hired by the mainstream companies?
Absolutely. So today, for example, let's say you want to run something in the let's for a moment talk about big data. Now, every company has its own need for big data specialists, right? So they actually run their last. So typically, they would take about 2-3 months to train a software professional. Now, the same thing if a person has some basic knowledge of Excel, advanced Excel, and some basic database structures, it can be easily taught to them in about 30-45 days, and they can be made deployable typically with about a week's induction for these companies. So that's a model which is getting adapted more and more, and it will continue to sort of grow in the next few quarters because this demand is not going to slow down, Nikunj.
Interesting. When you say demand's not going to slow down, Anil, is the demand more inward, or is it more outside India where the demand is getting created?
So the demand is more in India because let's understand what has happened for this. We've got to go back about 18-20 months. There are a lot of companies which laid off tons of people globally. And they're talking about, even FMCG retail, which used to typically grow at 5-6% per annum. The growth is some 35-40% requirement in terms of manpower. So it's a good problem for people to have because this is going to continue for the at least foreseeable future. And by that, we mean at least the next 2-3 years. And we will have to keep looking at alternate sources of training people and bringing them into the workforce.
Interesting. Let's put it into numbers. What kind of an annual growth rate for you as well as the industry are we looking at given the boon that COVID has actually provided to e-tech?
So it would be very difficult to put an upside on this because it can be as much as the market bears. But the industry itself, I would expect would grow at about 20% plus compounded over the next 3 to 4 years.
Interesting. Also, I wanted to understand, Anil, that which segment of the industry is the maximum demand coming in from? You said that it's actually inward growth from India that you are seeing. But given that, technology is being now used by just about any and every business, even traditional businesses are now turning digital. Where exactly, sectorally, do you think the demand is coming in from?
About the IT industry, but let's look at media and entertainment for a moment. Now, what has been happening in media and entertainment is that physical shootings have been more or less getting replaced by VFX, so which is in studio. And the moment you want to create something within a studio, it requires massive number of technicians with various skill sets. So where, let's say, growth was at about 8%, 9%, it's going to 35, 40%. And the way demand is being projected by the recruiters. So for example, we've got almost about 2,000 plus recruiters in this media and entertainment space. And it is just not possible for us to right now meet up with the demand. I mean, there are multiple jobs, lesser number of professionals coming out every year. Far more jobs than people.
Okay, so Anil, just to wrap it up now, how much of your business activity is normalized? Because an Aptech course involves a practical on-site training as well. Have all your business operations normalized? God forbid if there is another wave, if there are restrictions, then what happens to your business momentum?
So Nikunj, you've seen our second quarter numbers, right? I mean, they're pretty decent. I mean, it's been almost a decadal high for us in terms of profits. And if I look at the second quarter, which was July, August, September, till September 15th, almost every single education institute in the country was in shutdown mode. So the phygital part of our business has moved very, very well. I mean, today we're doing a lot of delivery online and remote. And now that the unlock procedures have, it's almost across the country, almost every single center is open. So it doesn't really bother us too much. And with vaccination hitting whatever highs it's been hitting, I mean, we talk about 120, 130 crore vaccinations already having happened in the country. We believe that the third wave is unlikely. Whatever interaction we are having with the government, whatever interaction we have with local authorities is actually indicative that, even schools and colleges will not be shut down. They will be careful in terms of not encouraging large gatherings, so they'll probably cut down science fairs, cultural festivals, stuff like that. But classes will continue. And I'm very hopeful that this will be very good for us in Q3 and Q4 and going forward.